The question that I asked to start this, which seemed to really resonate for a lot of people, is asking yourself whether or not the person that you are with is a narcissist. Probably some of you might be asking yourself, are they borderline personality? Are they a sociopath? All of those things. And if you're anything like me, you did a lot of research. You became the expert in finding out if they were a covert narcissist, were they borderline personality? Was it because of their, bad childhood upbringing? Was their mother not affectionate enough? Was their father not around? We've become really experts in all of those things. And, if you've done all of your research because you wanted to become an expert on what was wrong with the other person, then it's great to have the information, but the question is, how does that actually help you? So I want to talk a little bit about that today. So if you've been one of those people that you've done tons of research and you've become like an expert in all things about narcissism and things like that, I want you to write the word research. All of you researchers, I was that. I was spending so many hours doing research, trying to figure out what was wrong, because if I could just figure out what the problem was, then I could make it better and we would live happily ever after. Does that resonate for anybody? Like if I could just tweak it, if I could figure it out, he's so great or she's so great with all of these things, but if I can just figure out what's wrong, then everything can be okay. So I bet you a lot of you were researchers. You've done the research. You've become an expert on knowing about whether or not they're a covert narcissist, borderline personality, whatever their stressful event was, to give reasons for their behavior. You might be asking yourself, is this behavior normal? If you've never experienced a healthy relationship, you might say to yourself, hey, I don't even know what's normal. All I've experienced is something that's unhealthy. You might be questioning, is this my fear of abandonment? What is it? What's going on here? So I want to say something that, some people might be a little bit surprised about, but the thing that I'm going to throw out there, blow your minds maybe just a little bit, is it doesn't matter if they're a narcissist. It doesn't matter if they have borderline personality. It doesn't matter what their issue is at all. And some of you might be like, yeah, but Stephanie, dealing with narcissistic abuse, that's a really big deal. Dealing with a sociopath, that's a really big deal. Heck yeah. Yeah, that is a really big deal. I was there. They confuse you. They make you wonder what's real, what's not real. It's you come out not knowing which end is up. And I totally understand that. So I'm not denying any of those things. But here's what I want to throw out there. As you ask yourself the question and you do all of this research, does that change the relationship? Does that change them? Are they still the same person they were before? Yes, right? The answer is yes. They don't change unless they want to change. And if they are an actual real narcissist, that's part of their personality, and making any type of change would have to first them be deciding to make a decision to take responsibility for themselves. And if you know about narcissists, they're not really into that. They're going to blame everybody else in the world because they have no responsibility of their effect on other people. It's all about them. So even if you do all of this research, if you become an expert in every sense of the word, of every different type of ailment there is, it's not going to change who they are. So here are some of the things that I want to ask you. Number one, if you have a pen and paper near you, I'd like you to take it out and get ready to write. Because the first thing that I'd like you to do is write down what your values are. What is important to you? Is safety a value? Is that important? Is freedom to be who you are, to be able to say and do what you want, to be able to experience life fully and to really be excited every single day for life? Is that something that you want? Do you want a partner that you feel safe with? Do you want a partner that you feel empowered with, that actually helps you be the best version of yourself? If your value is your freedom, if your value is monogamy, if your value is safety, trust, health, all of those things, then you're not going to allow unhealthy types of behaviors into your life. What are your values? And a lot of us are not even really sure, because we've been in these types of toxic relationships and we haven't really experienced anything that's healthy. So we might have these values, and then as soon as we meet someone who treats us kind of nice, we throw those all out the window because we saw a glimmer of what could be, and then all of our values get thrown out the window. It's like that typical thing of someone suddenly becoming like a football fan because their significant other likes football. They never liked it before. They just kind of are a chameleon, whatever that person likes. When you really know who you are, what you need, what you want, you're going to be much more protective of yourself. So first things first, without worrying about becoming an expert on any other types of diseases, mental illnesses, etc., you have to ask yourself what it is that you want. What are your values? What is important to you? And only you can answer that. As you get strong and you know who you are and what is a value to you, it's going to be harder and harder for narcissists, people with that are, sociopaths, anything that's going to hurt you negatively. It's going to be harder for those people to infiltrate because you're going to feel very strong in your values. Number 2, something else to ask yourself. Why don't you trust yourself? Because if there's a little piece of you that's saying, are they a narcissist? Is this abandonment issues? Is this normal? If you have to ask, is this normal out loud and get somebody else's opinion on whether or not that's normal, then I ask you why you don't trust yourself. Where have you done something in your life that you might have started to make a change and then not changed it? Have you been told that you are not trustworthy? Have you done things in your own life to show that you are not trustworthy to yourself? So when I say trustworthy, that means you say you're going to do something and you're in integrity with it. If you say you're going to do something, you know that that's going to happen. That's integrity. So trusting yourself is having integrity. Do you have integrity in yourself? Has the world around you taken away that trust? Has the person that you are with taken away that trust? Because that's something else. If you're asking yourself if this is normal, you got to ask yourself, the fact I'm even asking myself that question shows that it is not normal. It is not good. It is not healthy for me. Because that's what it is too. I don't live your life. I don't. You don't live my life. You have to decide what is okay and normal for you. I can't do that for you. Is it okay for you to be yelled and screamed at by someone? I mean, in a healthy relationship, no. But if that's what you're used to, that's where you start to think, well, that's okay. If it's not okay, then why are you still in a position where you're getting yelled and screamed at? This is not victim blaming. This is you asking what you want for your life. No one can decide what they want for their life except for you. So look at where or whether or not you trust yourself. How can you change that so that you actually start to have trust in yourself? So that's the second thing. First thing was values. Second thing was trust. Third thing, communication. I did a post, a value post earlier this week talking about you statements rather than I statements. How is the communication in your relationship? Is there yelling and screaming? Is there cursing at each other? Are you able to communicate in a way where you feel heard? Is the person that you're in a relationship with, do they feel heard when they speak to you? When there is a disagreement or a misunderstanding, is there a conversation about how the two of you can figure out together how to come up with a solution to make things better? No? Communication's an issue. Being assertive is really important in communication. Being able to be honest with yourself and go back to whether or not you know what your values are. If you know what's important to you and you trust yourself, it will be much easier for you to be assertive because you will stand up for yourself, you will say what your wants and needs are, and you will set healthy boundaries naturally. It is much more natural when you feel good about yourself to set boundaries naturally. So the third thing to look at, if you've been asking yourself about narcissism, if it's normal, if it's your abandonment issues, whatever it is, how is your communication, but also how is the communication of your partner? Do you leave feeling drained, frustrated, more angry, more enraged, or do you leave the conversation feeling supported and heard and like a solution has happened? Now, I also want to make sure that I bring up communication doesn't necessarily mean immediate answers right away. it means feeling safe, being able to say what you need and want. So like for an example, I like to communicate in a way that we keep going until we figure it out a solution and then I'm done with it. David, on the other hand, he wants to start talking about it, let it settle in, so remove himself, have a little time to think about it, and then come back and talk so that he can process. That doesn't mean we never talk about the problem. When you know how your partner needs to communicate and how you need to communicate, you come up with a solution together to be able to figure out how to communicate and feel heard for both of you. And then you're able to move on through disagreements that way in a healthy way. Communication and relationships go hand in hand. If you are not communicating well, or they are constantly blaming you, or you are constantly blaming them, they're constantly telling you what to do, they're constantly telling you that you're not good enough, they're belittling you, they're hurting your feelings, they're doing things specifically because they know that it's pushing your buttons. It doesn't matter if they're a narcissist or not, it matters that it hurts you and it makes you feel less than. Anyone that is in your environment that makes you feel less than, you want to remove yourself from them. And it doesn't matter what their diagnosis is. What matters is that you protect this. You protect this. It is your job to protect you. So if it doesn't feel good, learning the tools that you need to make different decisions to be able to protect yourself in a better way, then get those tools. That's something that's important. The next one. Number 4, what support have you gotten? If you're wondering if something is normal because you've only experienced unhealthy, have you ever worked with someone to find out what normal is? Have you ever talked to a therapist? Have you gotten a coach? Have you hung out with people that are healthy and happy? What support have you gotten? And real support. You know, friends can be great, but friends can also be really screwed up too, right? I mean, we all have screwed up friends too, right? But when we're trying to heal, it's important to surround ourselves with healthy people so that we have the right support to help us move forward. Having someone just say to us, oh, that's normal, everybody does this, blah, 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 is that really helpful in getting you to change? Not really. Their expertise is not in helping you to change and helping you to grow. Theirs is maybe a friendship where they're just as screwed up as you are and they don't really know the right answers for you. I want you to remind yourself that whatever you're thinking that got you to this place is not the thinking that's going to get you out. If you have not learned healthy communication, you're not going to learn healthy communication by osmosis. You're going to have to learn how to do it effectively. It took me a long time. I knew that there was a chance that you could speak in a healthy, productive way, but I hadn't experienced that as a child and I hadn't experienced that in previous relationships. I needed to learn and practice how to communicate effectively. That was something that I had to learn, and I didn't learn it completely on my own. I needed support. Part of also looking at the support that you've gotten to grow and change, where did the initial wound come from that keeps bringing you to the same place? Was it your parents? Was it a bad experience when you were a child? Is it a childhood wound? Can you think all the way back to the first time you felt really terrible and insecure and didn't trust yourself? Can you think back to that initial time? If you're watching this as a replay, press pause and journal. If you're watching this live, start journaling now or go back to this place. Where is the initial part that you felt that wound? Because until you figure out that wound with the right support, you're going to keep attracting the same types of unhealthy relationships into your life that reiterates that same wound. You're naturally going to go to where the pain is and create that over and over again in your life until you heal that pain. So it's important to figure out where that initial pain was. The abandonment is not necessarily from this partner. The abandonment might be from when dad left when you were 4, or when mom was not the mom that you wanted, or something happened to someone that you loved. It will be different for everyone. Where did that initial pain come from? The next thing, your self-worth. So again, the support that you've gotten. How have you improved your self-worth? How have you been able to feel empowered and get the right tools to start believing in yourself? To know that you are worthy because you are. Because you are a human being and you deserve happiness. You deserve joy. You deserve love. Every day should be filled with excitement. You should be living your life at a 9 or a 10, not at a 3 or a 4, the way I speak to most of my clients when I ask them, where are you right now in the happiness scale? And very often their answers before they work with us is anywhere from 1 to 4. That's where they are. That's might be where you are right now. If you don't work on your happiness scale and start getting the right support, you're going to keep repeating those same patterns over and over again. So getting the right support is really important. So here's what I want you to ask for yourself. How do you want to be treated? What do you want for yourself? You can't control other people and make them be who you want them to be. But what you can control is who you allow in your life. You don't have to allow a narcissist to be your partner. You don't have to allow someone who's constantly making you question what's okay, what's not okay. Is this normal? Is this not normal? You don't have to allow those people in your life. And I know some of you might say, well, Stephanie, easier said than done. You're right. It is easier said than done. It's work to make the change. It's work to decide to do differently. But it's work that you can't do by yourself because your thinking is what got you here. The way that you have been thinking has been what gets you here. So you have to decide, is it easier to stay with wondering and questioning and being insecure and having this neediness and fear and abandonment and isolation and all those things? Is it worth it to stay there, or is it worth it to make a change, to decide something different? You have to decide what you want. What I want for all of you, my wish for all of you is that you will get the right support. We could help you with that in deciding to do something different. Because the gift that you have inside of you will have a very difficult time coming out if you're using up all your energy becoming the research specialist in whether or not your partner's a narcissist. Your energy is going to be used up if you're constantly using it to try to figure out what somebody else's issues are. You need to focus on what you need to work on so that you can feel better about yourself, so that you can make the changes and you can create the life that you want. You are the only one who can do that. I used to wait around for my knight in shining armor to come and save me. I did. I kept hoping if I went out, if I met the right person, if something would change on the outside, they would come and save me and we would, ride away on the white horse and live happily ever after. I kind of had that hope. But that's not what happens. What happened is that I got to a point in my life where I said, it doesn't matter what any of these other people's issues are. I don't need to be a research specialist in their problems. I need to become a specialist in myself. I need to make it a decision to never do this again. And the only way I could do that was by creating a team to get the right help to start making different choices for myself. So hopefully that resonated for you. I think it's something really important for everyone in this group to understand is how much power we actually have. Taking away that disempowered feeling and actually getting the right support is key. If you are looking for that freedom, for that support, for that best friend, it's got to start with yourself. So I wanted to throw out there for anyone who's like, oh my gosh, she's speaking my lingo. Like, I'm tired of waiting. I don't want to waste any more time. Again, my husband David is sick. He's in the hospital and it's, you never know how much time we have, Why not now make a decision to stop wasting time, to stop putting people that are not helping you be the best version of yourself and draining you and wasting your time because we don't know how much time we have. Decide to do something different for yourself. I'm going to offer you something really special. I'm really, really excited about it. Never done this before. This is a completely different. I thought about this yesterday and I wanted to throw it out there. If you are interested in setting up an appointment with me to find out how we can help you and maybe work out some issues that you might be, stuck in, I want to offer you something really, really cool. So if you're watching this and you can write down this phone number, write this down because the next part of it's going to be really important. So please keep listening if you want this really exciting, cool thing that I'm going to offer. So the phone number that I want you to write down, anyone can write this down. If you can type it for me in the comments, that would be awesome. 631-317-4027. So again, that number is 631-317-4027. And here's what I want to offer you. For anyone who would like to have a session with me, we're going to go 30 minutes, a session with me. 30 minutes with me would normally cost $100, okay? 30-minute session with me. And we're going to talk about all the things that we need to talk about, and we're going to also figure out how we can help you get to the next level, all right? 30 minutes with me and a copy of my workbook and a copy of my book. So you're going to get my workbook and my book. That's a $30 value plus shipping and handling. And of course, I think it's Amazon, so we can only ship to certain countries. I'm not sure what the deal is, but definitely the United States, you're fine. So the book and my workbook and 30 minutes with me for $30, you're going to have $135 worth of stuff. And we're going to be able to end that 30-minute session with some ideas of what's going on and some ways, an actual plan of some things that you can do differently to start creating your life. So what's that phone number for? If you would like to set up an appointment with me, just text message to that phone number, 631-317-4027. Thank you for everyone who put that up there for me. Text message that and just write your first and last name and write special next to it. Because of course you're special, number one. And that means that I know you want the special. You want $30 for 30 minutes with me and a copy of my book and workbook. So again, $130+ value that you're getting for $30. We get to chat, I get to spend time with you, and we get to figure out what we can do to help support you to get you to where you want to be for yourself, so that you can stop wasting your time researching whether or not it's you, it's me, it's them, trying to figure out if they're a narcissist, if you're the one who's messed up or they're the one who's messed up, or trying to figure out, I've made mistakes too, they've made mistakes, but really what should I believe? You know, they only pulled my hair once, is it okay? Whatever it is that you're trying to figure out and you're trying to question yourself, definitely send a text message to that phone number, 30 minutes with me, we get to chat, and you get my workbook and my book. The question, how long is this special good for? That's a good question, Allison. I am going to say right now, today is September 3rd. Let's go with this special is good for the next week. The sooner that you sign up for it, the better chance of getting you in, because it is hard to get a session with me. So let's start it out. I've never done this special before. I've never had that. I had this idea yesterday, so I wanted to throw it out there. I think it's a great value because I know some people have been wanting to spend time with me, but they can't afford a full one-on-one session with me. This is a great way for you to get a little bit more clarity, for you to get my book and my workbook, and for us to come up with a plan together of what you can do to start making changes for yourself. So thanks for the question, Allison. Thank you everyone who got to watch this live. I will be giving the link for anyone who needs the link. And I will also be doing this as a watch party at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for those of you who did not get to watch it live. So thank you so much, everyone. Keep doing the hard work. Keep showing up to these lives. Really important. And for those of you who are ready to actually make a change, you're done with the education, you're done with the research, and now you want to commit to yourself to make changes, definitely send that text message and let's figure out a time to chat. Have a great rest of your day. Bye, everybody.